Hello and welcome back to the Get a Student Life podcast, where we talk about all things student life and love telling student stories. I'm your host, Molly Ballison, and today I'm joined with Eduardo Diaz, so thanks for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And I'm interested to hear about what it's like being a finance major and being in the insurance biz as you are, and hopefully we get to learn a few little tips from you today. But before we dive into that, our question of the day, keeping with the theme of finance and money, is what is the best thing you've ever spent money on?
The best thing I've ever spent money on? That's a good question. I would say usually when I spend a lot of money, it's not a good financial choice. So
It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It could be like a couple bucks and it was like the best thing you ever bought.
I'd say it's kind of a basic answer, but my phone. I use it for everything, and I bought that, and I had like an old iPhone 8, so upgrading was nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
What do you have now?
I have a 14 now, so I got it about a year and a half ago.
Okay, that's better than mine. Mine is always cracked, and I just keep dropping it. And after, I have the worst luck with phones. I have it for like a year, and I drop it and either like shatter it or it just doesn't turn back on.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully you take better care of your stuff than
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, no, I try to.
Any like best experiences or non-material things that have been like the best purchase?
Non-material. I would say, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The first thing that popped into my head, thinking about like non-material, just because this is the most recent experience for me, but I recently went on, or for spring break, I went on a backpacking trip in the California Redwoods with the outdoor program, and that was just an awesome experience. And so I'm glad that I was able to put money towards that, and it was well worth the experience and the training and everything. But as far as material, oddly enough, it is I think about this every time I use it. This picnic blanket I have that's like blue and has lemons on it.
Oh, okay.
I picked up as an impulse buy for like $20 at TJ Maxx, and I use it all the time.
There you go.
And great for picnics in my backyard or going to the park. And I've brought it to campus with me several times, just like slung over my shoulder. And every time I lay it out, I'm like, oh, best purchase ever.
Best $20.
Like, best $20 ever spent. And
That's nice.
best impulse buy for sure. And my cat, he was an impulse buy too.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, so diving into a little more about you, I'm curious, what brought you to Boise State initially?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to go away from home, but still stay in Idaho. I'm from Blackfoot, Idaho, which is about 4 hours away from here, and Boise was kind of that good medium between, the city vibe, but also still staying with the, like not as, a huge city. So it's kind of a mid-sized city for me, and I really liked that.
So it was where you're from, smaller than Boise. Where are you from originally?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Blackfoot. There's just like about 20 people there.
Oh, wow. So very small.
Yeah,
okay.
Not really 20, but it's very small. Yeah.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
How was the transition from more of a rural place to more of an urban place like Boise?
Yeah, so I would say I kind of, slowly got here because I, after Blackfoot, I moved to Twin Falls, which is about 70,000 people. So going from about 10,000 to 70,000 to now Boise, which is, maybe 250,000. It wasn't as bad. But even then going back home, it's a pretty big change. So just traffic, people, things to do, I would say.
I bet. So you kind of got to ease into the bigger city life, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you go back home, is that Twin Falls or Blackfoot?
Blackfoot, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like a little bit of like culture shock when you go back and forth, like for breaks or something?
Yeah, it is. I go to Walmart back home and I see like 10, 15 different people I know.
I can relate to that so much.
Yeah.
Also from a small, maybe not as small as Blackfoot, but a small town in North Idaho, that like Walmart's the place where everyone's at, and you can't go to the grocery store without running into people you know, which is a pretty cool aspect of small towns. But then sometimes you're like, I just want to go get my groceries and go home without running into people that you're like, oh, I knew you when you were this big.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. And so glad you got to come to Boise. So what made you decide to continue your education in college in the first place?
Yeah, so graduating high school, I actually thought that I was not going to go to college. My plan was to get my real estate license and sell real estate. I eventually ended up going into the insurance industry, and I took a semester off where I was full-time insurance. And even though I was enjoying that, doing pretty well, I don't know, I just wasn't satisfied, and I was kind of getting tired of just the 9 to 5. So I realized, if I want something more for myself, and experience other things, then I should probably go to school. So that's kind of what made me look into going to school.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, jumping into like that 9 to 5 life right after high school, I think would be a big adjustment. I mean, anything after high school is a big adjustment, but that's like jumping right into the business of life.
For sure. It was definitely interesting. I mean, most of my coworkers were 40s, 50s, and I was 18 years old.
That would be crazy. So. And so you're still in insurance.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I took a break, but I just recently got back into it. So now I've got collectively about 2 years of insurance experience.
All right. And what did the process look like of getting into that? And you knew you wanted to do that in high school?
No, so I was going to go into real estate,
that's
but as far as insurance and real estate, the process is pretty similar. You study on your own. It's a self-study course, I guess I would say. And then you go and take a state exam through the state of Idaho, and you get your license. Instead of doing real estate, I did insurance, so I studied for a few weeks, got my license in home and auto insurance, and then basically just started selling insurance.
Okay, so
yeah,
pretty seamless process of just like the amount of time it takes to study.
Yeah, a few weeks, a month probably, depending on how you do studying. So
it seems pretty fast paced.
It is. I mean, compared to spending 4 years in college getting a degree.
Totally.
You can spend a couple $100 on the study material, the exams, and you have a degree. You have a career. So
that's pretty awesome. So you're still balancing that and getting your degree. In finance, correct?
Yes.
So how do you balance the I guess first question, what does your typical day look like with balancing those?
Yeah, usually I wake up around 7:30, 8 a.m. I do my math homework in the morning, do an Alex, so I know all the Boise State students know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, never again, but I'm glad that you can do that.
Yeah, no, it's super fun, my favorite part of the day.
Yeah.
So I do an hour of that usually in the morning and just try to get that out of the way.
Smart.
And then after that, I get ready for class. And I either have class at, usually 10:30 or noon. Noon on Mondays and then 10:30 every Tuesday through Thursday. So yeah, I do an hour of that, get ready. I have class, and then I either have one class or two classes depending on the day. And then I usually just go to work straight from class.
And where do you work?
I'm currently at State Farm.
Okay.
Yeah, so
sell insurance at State Farm.
Yes.
Is that the first place that you jumped into after you got your insurance? Is it called certification?
It's a license.
A license.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, I was with American Family Insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, which is, they're another big insurance company.
And what kinds of skills have those places helped you pick up as it's one thing to study it, but then it's another to actually go do it, I'm sure.
Yeah. The things I studied for, I don't really use at all.
Oh,
it's just terminology. It's terminology that you're learning, I would say networking skills, marketing, communicating with other people, negotiating, de-escalation. A lot of the times people, I'll deal with clients that are upset about something and just being able to kind of de-escalate the situation. Had a client call in the other day asking why their rates went up like $5 a month. So they were like super mad about a $5 difference, which fair enough, but, just calming them down and kind of explaining to them, why that is the case, and then having them actually, thank you for explaining that and taking the time to, give them an idea of why things are the way they are. So.
And are you usually dealing with people, like, not dealing with people, but talking to customers over the phone or in person, or both?
Both, mainly in person. Mainly over the phone. I'd say about 70-80% over the phone, and then about 20-30% in person. So yeah, I'd say being over the phone, I've made thousands and thousands of calls for sure. So I've gotten pretty good being on the phone, I would say. So. Do
you have any like crazy stories of experiences with people that, not sharing names obviously, but things that you can share?
Just to keep it very vague, I've had people answer the phone when maybe they shouldn't have answered the phone.
Oh,
so
that's unfortunate.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, what are some things that you've learned through being a finance major that you've been able to apply to your work? Is there some overlap?
I'd say there's a little bit of overlap. Using Excel, I use Excel at work to track sales and whatnot. And being in finance, there's quite a bit of Excel as well. So I'd say that's one area. As far as not currently doing this, but as far as becoming owning my own agency, I know finance can be crucial. Being able to manage payroll, being able to manage total sales, not just my individual sales, but the total agency sales. I really anticipate that finance will do me a lot of good in those areas.
Because those are big responsibilities too. And then when you're helping manage other people's money, I'm just impressed with people that are able to do that. And first juggle finances, but then be able to teach others about it. And waking up and starting the day with math sounds like my worst nightmare. And so the fact, maybe you don't have a choice, but that's just how you do it.
That's the way I see it. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I want to do it or not. I have to do it.
Makes sense. So did you always know that you wanted to work with money? You said you wanted to go into real estate right after high school, but was it kind of a pending idea in the back of your brain?
No, I'd say I'd always, had a close relationship with money. When I was younger, I'd save up coins and quarters and, I'd put them into a little jar or something, and then I'd count them out. I don't know, I swear at least a few times a week, I'd have $15-13 or whatever. So I don't know, I've always liked the idea of money. I think I see it more as a tool to be able to experience things. Obviously you can buy material things, but I think I see it as a tool of, in a way, buying time for a lot of instances. Yeah.
Could you explain more of what you mean by buying time?
Yeah, I think if if you got I don't know, I guess one you asked me earlier what's one thing I spend money on that I really like. I do like Walmart deliveries, so I get my groceries delivered. It's $12 being a student, $12 a month for the Walmart Plus subscription. So deliveries are free. So it's completely free, and you just tip, obviously. But there's no extra fees to do that, and that's I have not bought my own groceries from Walmart in months, if not longer. So it's super convenient.
You had enough experience of the Walmart in your hometown. You're like, nah, they can come to me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I'll just pay someone to do that for me, and now I don't have to spend 30 minutes an hour buying groceries. So I'd say that's one small example of how money can be used to buy time.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
In your experience with dealing with money and having interest in it and studying it, have you found that it's ever burdensome, or there's any I guess negative aspects to I guess just being revolved around the money?
Yeah, I would actually say no. There's the common saying, money is the root of all evil, or however that saying goes.
Yes.
I'd say the lack of money is the root of all evil. I think not having money is going to cause a lot more issues, and I also think money it amplifies who you are as a person. So I think if you're a good person and you have more money, you're just going to be able to have the ability to do more good. I think if you're a bad person and you've got money, of course, you know, you might do some bad.
Exactly.
I don't think it's necessarily money. Like I said, I really see it as a tool, not even really as a focus or as a focus. I see it more as a an effect or a result. I think I think if you focus on making money, you're probably not going to make very much money. I think if you focus on creating value, money's going to be the byproduct of that.
And how do you explain like that difference of creating value versus creating the money?
I mean, when I go into work, I focus more on like, okay, how can I help this individual or this individual family with their insurance products? Like, what are they lacking? And then at the end of I'm not able to help everyone, but the people that I am able to help, obviously, I'm getting the byproduct. I'm getting my compensation, but I shift my focus more on like, what can I do for this family, this individual, rather than like, how much money am I going to get out of this?
So for you, it's more of what is going to be the long-term effects of helping this person in this avenue?
Yeah, absolutely.
Got you.
Yeah.
And so as a student that does not know a ton about finances or is very bad at budgeting, and you said you legally can't give financial advice, but what financial suggestions would you give to your friends at Boise State about how to be good budgeters or just anything in finance?
I'd say the biggest thing is just track what you spend your money on. I think like writing it down. I mean, you can download an app, but if you're just trying to get a simple solution, I think just writing down everything that you spend money on like over the course of the next month. Because once you write it down and you look at, I'm actually spending, $100 on eating out or something, you really start thinking about it. And maybe it doesn't cause you to change anything. Maybe you're just like, well, it's fine. But it causes you to kind of be curious about where your money's going. So I think that would be the biggest first piece of advice is just look at what you're spending your money on.
Makes sense.
And then you'll start to see like, I'm actually spending more money on this than I thought I was. So as I found out with myself.
So did you, as you were studying more, putting these into practice and finding things that worked and things that didn't, is it kind of like a trial and error process, or is there like a system that works?
Yeah, I'd say it's a trial and error. I don't think there's one like this is the perfect method. I think it really depends. I think some people are going to be super strict with their budget. I wouldn't say I am. I mean, I'm still spending money on things that, aren't like the best financially responsible thing to do, just because I'm like, I don't want to take it too serious. I think just having some guidelines and kind of sticking, somewhat close to that is what works for me. So I really don't think there is one solution for everybody.
Gotcha. And are there any tools you would suggest for, you said there's apps you can download.
Yeah.
Any other helpful tools?
I'd say Excel is a good tool if you're good with Excel. If not, even the iPhone's Note app. That's a easy app that everyone's got on their phone if you've got an iPhone.
Do take a lot of notes.
So yeah, just start noting down what you're spending money on. I guess would be a good answer for that.
Okay, yeah, that's good advice, because I always start like at the beginning of the month doing that, and then as I go, I just forget because I'm like, oh well, I need groceries, so I'm just gonna get them.
Yeah.
Or I don't really think about money too much, to be honest. And like, it comes, it goes, and it's gonna be there when like I really need it, and if not, there will be a way.
That's fair.
But yeah.
I'd say one more thing is also and this is just coming to mind, but it's something that I established like when I got my first job, is having a like paycheck routine. So like as soon as your paycheck hits,
Smart.
most people are just leaving that money in their checking account and going on with their day.
Yeah.
Ever since I had my first job, I would get that paycheck, and immediately the first transaction is I would move some money to a savings account. So I think figuring out how much you make, and then just whether it's like $50, $100, $500, every paycheck, no matter what, like that's the first thing you're doing is setting money aside for a savings account. So I think that would be one good piece of advice. And then also not going into your savings ever. Which, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people that they're like, well, I've had $1,000 saved, and then I slowly started pulling money out. So I think just creating that boundary for yourself that, like, any money I put in here, I'm not going to pull out. So, yeah, just kind of figuring out what you can put in there that you're not going to need.
Yeah, and it seems so simple, but it's just, like, remembering to do those little practices that, like, they compound, and then that makes a difference later on. But have you had any... have you come across any challenges as far as whether it's like getting to college or just getting into finance in general?
I would say when I first came to Boise State, just finding my group of people was a challenge. I mean, I don't have any family here in Boise. I knew like a few people here, not really, I wouldn't say like friends, but more like acquaintances. So just coming here and, you know, obviously work and school is good, but I think it's also important to find that community. And I think when I first came here, I was like, okay, I got to really put myself out there and find that group of people and, you know, start making some friends. So I'd say that was a challenge for the first few months.
Yeah. And did you end up finding that community?
Yeah, I got involved in a few different organizations. Just started going to events, which was, you know, it's kind of hard at first, especially if you're not like a big, I wouldn't consider myself like a big extrovert. So just going to events and just like, hey, talking to other people, reminding myself that everyone there is there for the same reason, to meet other people. That kind of eased off a lot of anxiety. It's like, hey, they're just trying to make friends as well. So I ended up going to some Abuela events, which is a Hispanic organization.
Awesome.
Here on campus, they hold different events. They're holding DFT here soon, which is an event that's for upcoming freshmen.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, trying to get, you know, students come to Boise State. So they're hosting that here soon.
And how's that organization spelled so that people can find it?
Oela, so it's OELA.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Is that how did you come across that organization?
Honestly, I just went on the Boise, the Boise State University, organization page. I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. So, and I seen that on there, seen some different organizations, and I kind of just went to a few different events and met some people. So
good stuff. Yeah, it takes that little step of boldness to actually go out and join an event that you're like, well, if I don't know anyone, then I'll know someone by the time I leave. Like, that was always my motivation. Like, okay, you're going to go to this event. If you're going alone, you're going to make a friend by the time you leave.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And yeah, it just takes that initiating, especially trying to build a community, because even though everyone's looking for that same thing, some people, like, you always have to be the one to initiate and not like wait for someone to initiate a conversation or a friendship or extend an invite.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Just gotta do it.
Yeah.
Any other places that you've been able to find community or belonging on campus?
Yeah, of course, I got to give a shout out to my fraternity, Sigma Lambda Beta.
All right.
They've got we've got a closed process. SLB is it's a multicultural fraternity, so it's not like a traditional fraternity where, you know, you rush. Instead, we have interests versus I'm spacing the name of like the new people that join traditional frats.
Like the pledges?
Pledges, yeah. So instead of pledges, we've got interests. We don't rush.
Oh, okay.
So we just have the process, which is essentially like a semester-long process, and it's, you know, it's a lot of similarities to a traditional fraternity, but there's also a lot of differences. So I went to an event. It was like actually like the Greek life event, and I talked to a few different frats, but they were the ones that stood out to me, and started talking to some of the guys, and over the fall semester, I was among the process, and I crossed. That's what we call it. You know, joining the fraternity.
Like crossing over to being a member.
Yeah, exactly. So we crossed in December. Me and my my LBs, which stand for like line brothers, which are the people that are crossing with me.
Oh, okay.
So that was a lot of fun, and that was a great experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of events and stuff have you been a part of, like with your fraternity?
Yeah, we had an elote sale, which is corn, and then horchata sale.
Oh, fun.
A few weeks ago, so that was fun. We also do regular like brotherhood nights where we just hang out. It's just us and the guys just hanging out, playing games and whatnot. We do regular community service events as well, road cleanings and whatnot. So really, it's just getting involved and having that established brotherhood. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Building the brotherhood.
Yeah, for sure.
Building community.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So how do you have any final advice for students with balancing like involvement on campus with clubs and being a student and doing your classes and working, and for you working full time, right?
Yeah, full time.
Yeah. So between involvement, working, school, life balance, what would be your best advice for Boise State students?
Yeah, I would say definitely have a planner or some certain way to track what your day looks like. I just use my iPhone calendar. I've got my day set out every day essentially for the week, and then if I've got something come up, I just add it to the calendar. Even if it's like hang out with friends, I'll put that in there. That way I don't forget. Like
Smart.
But yeah, I would say just using a planner, using your calendar, and just tracking your days that way. So.
Gotcha. We've also had one of the first podcasts I recorded was another piece of advice was using Google Calendar. He said Google Calendar might have saved his life.
Yeah, no, I think it's one thing I've noticed amongst a lot of, I mean, because I'm not the only student going to school full time, working full time.
Yeah, that's an impressive thing.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, but
Yeah.
I think one thing I found is that, a lot of people that are doing that, they do keep their days very organized. And if it's Google Calendar, the iPhone calendar, whatever it is, an actual calendar.
So you like having that structure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And things built out like as you go.
Yep, absolutely.
Got you. Yeah, I think that's awesome that you're so determined to keep up this career that you've built outside of your degree and while still getting your degree, because just trying to get my degree and working part-time is a lot, and trying to keep that school life student balance is a difficult thing, but staying organized is that theme keeps coming up. So I think you hit the nail on the head with that. So thanks for sharing your little tidbits of advice and how you're getting involved on campus, and I wish you the best of luck with all your math.
No, thank you, Miller.
Absolutely. So glad you could be here today in the good old sound studio. So thanks to Albertsons Library for allowing us to record in here. And until next time, go get a student life.